Good evening, everybody. I am Shraddha Shrikant, a special education consultant working with children for quite some time now. So, I would like to talk about comprehension. What are the levels of comprehension that we usually work with children? So, before we go to that, I hope everybody has access to a paper and a pencil.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll start with a small activity. Let me know if you're all ready with the paper and a pen.
Yes, ma'am.
You can all send reactions down below too. So
Okay, wonderful. So now put down 1, 2, 3 there and just write down names of 3 animals that come to your mind. Number 1, animal, name of the animal, and why do you like that animal? Any particular quality that you're attracted to, or any particular thing that you are fascinated about that particular animal? Whatever it is, just put this down. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do this. Any 3 animals and the qualities which you think you appreciate in them. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Some more time? Okay. Now to analyze what you have done, you can make a note so that you don't forget it later. The first animal, whatever that you have written, be it a dog, saying that it's loyal, it's faithful, that talks about what you think you are, your perception about your own self. That's number 1. You want to put that down so that you don't forget it later. The number 2, the animal that you've written, probably an elephant, for being very gentle, for being vegetarian, whatever that you have written, that is what the world sees you as. What people around you, the society perceives you as. Yes? Any queries? All with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Want to know what about the third one? Third animal? Curious?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Third one is basically what you actually are. All of us will have a loud laugh. Yes.
Yes, it was.
Very true, ma'am.
Anybody wants to share something?
It's cute. Rabbit.
The third one was rabbit. Cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Cute. Anybody else who wants to share?
I put raccoon because
That
I
was a
have
very
the same
fun
dark
part.
circles as a raccoon.
Oh,
That's what I am.
wonderful.
Third
Anybody
one,
else?
I wrote snake.
Oh my God.
Actually, I wrote I like their movement and pattern.
So probably that's what you like about yourself. I mean, that's what you think about
Yeah.
yourself.
And second one, elephant, I wrote which leads the forest way.
Others think that you are a leader. Others perceive you as a leader.
Okay. And the first one I wrote deer looks beautiful and calm.
That's what you think you are. You need to ask your family, are you really calm?
Sure.
On second, I wrote cats, but I don't know why. I don't know.
You
I
need to
didn't
have a
find,
quality as well, right? Whatever that you write, you need to write the quality as
but I didn't know what the quality she has. I don't know. बस मुझे अच्छा लगा मैंने लिख दिया.
well. Good. Anybody else who wants to share? Okay. So remember this, try it with your family members, try it with your friends. Okay, coming for the reason why we are here. So this is done. This is what we just did. Okay, coming to comprehension. What exactly is comprehension? What do we understand? All of us, I think all of us are professionals working with children.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So all of us struggle or we make an effort to teach comprehension to our children.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So comprehension, as we all know, it could be listening, reading, general understanding, or problem solving. Listening is the easiest way out, where I don't have to decipher each letter and each sound. I have to just hear what somebody is reciting to me. That's my listening comprehension. So that's only one job at a time. So listening comprehension is usually the first one. Why do we teach rhymes to our children? They just listen. This is your first level. Then you're reading. When you're able to read your CVC words, your sentence formation, your vocabulary, your syntax, that's when you're reading comprehension. You're able to read and comprehend at the same time. That's your reading comprehension. General understanding, you read something, okay, you get a gist of it, okay, this is what it means. Problem solving, how do I use it? I read a maths addition word sum, and I don't know, I understand, okay, what problem, how do I solve this problem? That is your problem solving. So comprehension is, people may say, and even parents sometimes say, what big deal? But comprehension is a very important part, and especially if it's English and if it's a CBSE or any board which is an English medium school. And mostly all of us work with English medium schools. So the English is the main medium for all subjects. You read your SST also in English, your EVS also in English, and your maths problems also in English. So your comprehension is very important. Okay. Gradation of comprehension. All of us know the stage of development and growth. Yes. The moment that baby is born, the baby cannot deliver a lecture or run a marathon. Can the baby do that? No.
ma'am.
The baby
No,
cannot.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, the baby cannot do that. Similarly, your comprehension also goes step by step. Of course, there was a time when we were not trained, or at least my generation, I didn't study the easy way out. Now you have a proper breakup. First, you learn the individual sounds, then you learn the two-letter word families, at, pat, bat, and then you have your blends, then you have your CVC words, then simultaneously you're introduced to your sight words, and it goes on. So first thing what we do is a word meaning, and then once I understand the meaning of a word, I go to understand a sentence. I use the same word in a sentence. We all have this activity with our kids, wherein we ask them to frame a sentence with a particular word. Why? What is the purpose of that activity? To understand whether the child is able to know the meaning of the word and how it has to be used in a sentence. And then once you're done with your sentence, then you go on to your paragraph, where you focus on the main idea. We'll go in detail about all of these. We go focus on the main idea. What happened? How many sisters did Cinderella have? What happened at the ball? Things like that. Then you start forming judgments. Was it right? Was the ending right? Should she have done something like that? These are all the higher order thinking. Then you create alternate endings and you anticipate consequences and make generalizations. That's what you do. You like when you read halfway through, you're like, okay, probably, and you may be not given the whole story. You may be just given half part of it, and then you may be asked to do it. Okay, give an ending to this. You make a generalization. How are you going to change the ending? Yes, getting it? The first level, what do we do? Lexical comprehension. Like what we said, understanding a word. So here, the child, because we work with children, the child must have the knowledge of the meaning of the word. So that means a child should have a vocabulary. English must be a language which a child should be speaking. For example, the mischievous kitten frolicked around the garden, chasing butterflies with boundless energies. The words underlined tell you something about the kitten, what the kitten is doing, and the child will understand the meaning of these words and try to make sentences with that, so that we understand that the child is able to get the meaning and understand the comprehension part of it. Any points? Anybody wants to add anything here? I want this a little interactive. Otherwise, you guys will all sleep off. Yes?
Actually, like when the children are like in very less comprehensive, like their reading level is very low, so we should go for very simple sentence, right?
Absolutely. I have taken a difficult one here.
Yeah.
This mischievous, frolic, boundless, this is not a grade 1 level. This is definitely a grade 4, grade 5 level.
Yeah.
So you go to the very basic one. The fat cat sat on the mat. As simple as that.
Even some children who are in grade 3 and 4 also, they are not able to understand like when they have disability.
That's the reason they come to us, right? When they have a problem, that's the reason they come to us.
Yes.
And usually what happens is, of course, we are going off track, but then nobody bothers, or rather the alarm bells start ringing only after the child comes to grade 3.
Yeah.
Before that, it is usually just brushed aside, saying that it's okay, he will pick it up, and we have put him for tuitions, he will cope up, and things like that. But that's not the reality.
Okay.
And by the time the child is in grade 3, grade 4, sorry, it gets really difficult.
Yeah.
And that gap of 3 years, bridging it is not easy. It takes and sadly, school and parents believe that we do some kind of a magic. It doesn't work like that. A gap of 3 years cannot be bridged in 3 months or 3 weeks. We don't have a magic wand in hand.
Yes.
Okay. This is the first level of basic word meaning. And all of us have done this. If you go back to your school textbooks, your English literature books, the first paragraph there was a box at the beginning of the chapter which said difficult words. And remember, our teachers used to write on the board. The first thing we used to write was difficult words. And we used to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and write the meaning next to it. So the idea was that, but probably it was not delivered in the right way. Yes? Then we go to the literal comprehension. Literal is where most of our children struggle. Identifying the main idea, recalling details, sequence of events, how it happened, and what preceded what is something which our children struggle. This is where most of our work is. Your example. Usually your literal comprehension addresses your questions: who, what, when, where, why. These are the questions which your literal comprehension addresses. Who was the girl who lost the glass slipper? Again, going back to the Cinderella story. Where did Cinderella go to live at the end of the story? What happened at the ball? How many stepsisters did she have? So these are literal questions. The child has to read, understand the text, understand the main idea and the different points, and try to answer the different questions which come with who, what, when, where, why. Direct. You don't have anything to read in between, because our children with special needs struggle to understand in between the line. And there are children who come up and tell me, why do you have to write it in such a flowery language? Why can't you just say that he did not go to the ball? You have to write it in such a way where I don't understand. They want it straightforward. So this literal is where we usually work with our children. Yes? And here when we do our literal comprehension, we do it in a variety of ways. We can give a picture, and we can give a story in strips, ask the child to arrange in sequence, be as creative as possible, and see the pictures and put the correct strip of the story accordingly. And then you can just read a story and arrange the pictures. Okay, what goes first? The sequence. And the child gets to answer the question answers. Usually our work as special educators is in this level, because our children struggle mostly here. Any points? Anybody to say something? Can we go further?
Ma'am,
Yes,
one
ma'am.
doubt.
Yeah, dear.
Yeah, is it possible in nowadays central board syllabus?
Sorry, I didn't get you completely.
Is it possible in nowadays central board syllabus?
What do you want? What is possible?
Like the strategy you have told me, ma'am. Like arranging a story in a sequence by seeing the picture, or arranging the picture by reading the story. Is
See,
it possible nowadays? Yes,
these
ma'am.
are techniques which you will use to teach your children.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I know that, but the thing is, my doubt is actually, is it possible nowadays in the central board syllabus, because the syllabus is somewhat wider, broader?
See, it is again your creativity, dear. Now we are going to modify it to include whatever that you want to include.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is, see, for instance, if you can give me an example of anything from your latest board.
Actually, students were having a supplementary reader in English. They were having a supplementary reader type column. In that, they were having stories. So, in
Which
general,
grade?
grade 6, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, the questions asked from the story is totally as per the comprehension level of the story. So that
Mm-hmm.
in that concept, we can use this technique what you explained now. Am I right, ma'am?
Yeah. Hmm.
My question is it possible for all the type, all like what to say, for all the concepts, if 7 chapters are there in that supplementary, means is it possible for all the chapters to teach in the same way?
You can teach, but then again it depends on the kind of questioning which will come.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. That's
And
what
see
my question
again,
is.
see, if you are this is a CBSE board, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
CBSE board, which city are you calling from?
I'm from Coimbatore.
Okay. Any city for that matter, CBSE board has this, the schools have their internal papers till grade 8.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
they can do all their modifications and accommodations as per the need of the child.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
till grade 8, it is at the school level. And by the time the child goes to grade 9, you need to have a formal assessment done from a government doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
And once that document is submitted, you have to submit that online only. Once that document and all the required things are submitted, then the child gets some kind of a modification and accommodation depending on the disability of the child.
Yes, ma'am.
So till grade 8, the school can be actually quite helpful, which I agree that most schools are not. And
Yes.
some schools, I have to tell you that I know some schools where even from grade 3 onwards, they ask for a formal assessment. Once you submit that formal assessment, they are okay with giving a modified paper starting from grade 4. And the child gets an exemption of the third language in grade 4 itself.
Yes, ma'am.
Ideally, schools should do that.
Okay, ma'am.
And grade 9 upwards, anyway, it comes under CBSE purview.
Yes, yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, then we go to the next one, which is your interpretive comprehension, which we do at a higher level. These are all the higher order thinking ones, where usually the question is, what if? You're reading between the lines, you're anticipating the consequences, and you understand and you are more critical of the facts which have been stated. And then usually we have your give reasons for the following. We have all done those questions in school. So that comes under your interpretive comprehension. Yes? How did the pumpkin turn into a carriage? What would have happened if Cinderella hadn't lost her slippers? What would have happened if she wouldn't have gone to the ball, if she had not disobeyed her stepmom? Things like this. Yes? This is your interpreted, wherein the question is usually, what if? What do you do if this happens? Yes? Anybody to add on anything?
Like based on probabilities. Am I right?
Sorry?
Based on probabilities.
Yes. So for you to reach this level, like what I said about the gradation of comprehension, the moment the child is born, he cannot deliver a lecture or run a marathon. So here, only when you are really good with your literal and your lexical comprehension, especially your literal. And for us, as educators, we know that our children are struggling a lot in the literal comprehension. Coming to interpretive is something which is very difficult, especially for dyslexic kids. If they will not understand idioms, they will not understand a flowery language. Dyslexic kids come and tell me that. Why do you have to write it like that? Just say that I went to the market. Simple as that. They don't like complications. Because they cannot. When you work with children, you must be able to understand that these children don't understand sarcasm. They cannot understand sarcasm easily. They take it literally. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is something which is very difficult and not easy for our children. Going further, this is applied comprehension. You're reading beyond the lines and you link the text and his own experiences, and you have open-ended questions. What do you think would have happened in the next year? Would the boy have won a skating competition? And you support with a logical answer. This is your higher order thinking. When you know that you can understand the basic and the literal comprehension part of it. That's when this comes into picture. Here, what do our children do? They need to learn to make generalizations, comparisons, judgments, decisions, which is not easy. Our children with learning disability and children on the spectrum find it difficult to make generalizations. How would you, if I have to ask you, how would you change the ending of Cinderella? Anybody wants to change the ending of Cinderella? I would want to hear somebody's applied comprehension here. Anybody who can think quickly and tell me a different ending for Cinderella? She went to the ball, and what happened after that?
She can directly go with the prince instead of going back to her home.
Okay, but why did she have to go back? Because the clock struck 12, and she would have become she would have come to
Yeah,
her
she
original
would have
self.
come to her original dress, and she can go and accept that she is in original. She is like that only, and she can accept in front of everyone
We
else.
never
There.
questioned this as kids when we were told the story.
Right.
And
This is my answer only, not for kids.
anybody else? Any other thought? I'm waiting. One more reply.
Instead of going with the prince at the end, she could also make a deal with the prince and start up her own company and leave her stepmom and her stepsisters.
वहां पे भी डील बना लिया. Made a agreement with the prince that I'm going to work with you. Smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Nobody has any other creative thought? No. Ashrita ma'am, everybody is sleeping?
No, everyone is here. Only.
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you were Cinderella, what would you have done? Even better.
I would have told my true identity to him, ma'am.
Okay. If I was Cinderella, I would have gone to the ball. The moment I see the prince, I would have told him the truth. See, all this is behind me. So, will you accept me with all this? The problem is over. I don't have to wait till 12 o'clock. And I'll know the true colors of the prince also, no? Whether he is behind my lavish look or does he really love me? What say? Then you have something called affective comprehension, usually done at your undergrad level and your graduation level, where you study a language in depth. So you connect the motive to plot. If you guys have done English literature, you would have done Shakespeare. You would have studied why did Macbeth feel like that? Why did King Lear behave in that particular manner? So these are things which are, you connect the motive to plot. And the Merchant of Venice, why do you think Sherlock asked for 3 pounds of flesh? Things like that, where you connect the motive to the plot and the character development, which is the highest order of thinking and comprehension. We've covered this here, but are children reaching here? I'm not saying that they will not, but it's really amazing if our children reach this particular level of comprehension. What do you do when you're disappointed because you can't do anything fun? Is that how Cinderella reacted? Because her stepmom said that you cannot go. Something like that. And basically trying to share your feelings towards a particular character. For instance, all of us know the Three Bears story. And what happened? How did the three bears react when they saw somebody inside their house? What emotions did they show? How did they feel? This is basically into your emotional, social, and social aspects and impacts that it can have. Some social cause. What would you have done if you see somebody throwing trash on the road? How would you react? You need to do your higher order thinking here. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So now we come to your questions.
Shraddha ma'am, you are working with which school in Gurugram?
I don't work with a school. I practice privately. I'm an RCA certified educator. I have my own personal clinic, and I'm a mentor with Health Basics. I help the special educators in Health Basics. They're present pan India, right? So I help the special educators there. And I was part of DPS. I was part of DPS Sushant Lok. I was part of DPS Dwarka Expressway. But then now I'm not part of any place.
Okay, thank you. And what is the location of Health Basics in Gurgaon?
That we don't have a location. We work online. Ashrita can share more information about us. Ashrita, ma'am?
So yes,
Right.
Ms. Pooja, what we basically do is we connect with schools across India. In Gurgaon, we are present in 4 to 5 schools at the moment. So we basically provide special education service by hiring a special educator under our payroll, where Ms. Shraddha personally handles and gives one-to-one mentoring and training sessions internally, and we have a curriculum that we deliver at the school.
Right.
The idea here is, Pooja, the idea here is, see, every department in a school has an HOD or a coordinator, right? Any teacher who has a problem can go to the HOD or the coordinator for any query or any concern. But when it comes to a special educator or a counselor, you may be reporting to the principal or the HM or the authorities, but then they cannot give you that technical support. They will be able, you may be reporting to them admin wise, but if the special educator or the counselor runs into some problem, a difficult parent, or you with a child, you're stuck in a particular place wherein you don't know how to do the IEP, you don't know what to add, and or you need some kind of a teacher learning material, that's when we come into picture. I share teacher learning material. I have enough and more in-house material with me for all topics from for ages from grade 3 to grade 14. So I share material with them, and I share the resources, and I help them how to handle home plan to give to parents, and regular updates and workshops for teachers. And similarly, Ashrita ma'am does with the counseling part of it. She's the counselor. So
Right, ma'am.
basically, we help and handhold, guide these special educators and counselors in a school.
Wonderful, ma'am. Glad to know.
That's how it works, because
Right, ma'am.
ideally, you see, I mean, as a special educator, when I started my career, there was nobody to guide me, to tell me, yeah, this is how you have to do it. I mean, if I was wrong, whom do I go and ask?
Right, ma'am. Very well said.
So that is where, I mean, maths department has an HOD. The senior person is there to help you out. If you have to make a lesson plan, you have somebody to help you out. For a special educator and for a basically mental health department, you don't have anybody to guide you. And because of the CBSE pressure or the norms, every school has it mandatory that you have to have a counselor and a special educator. Beyond
Right,
that,
ma'am.
how are you doing value addition to them? So that's where Health Basics comes into the picture.
So
Got
this
it,
will be a tie-up with school, or special educator will have tie-up with the organization?
So, the tie-up and the partnership is between Health Basics and the school.
School.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
There is also an opportunity for job security in case if anything happens at the school's end, or the special educator wishes to relocate to another city. So she can always be within our system and look out for other schools and opportunities.
Okay.
And
If
there's one more.
anyone interested
Sorry.
for schooling or for special educator jobs, so they also can connect to you. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yes.
do provide teacher training programs and workshops at
Okay.
school level. So if
Okay.
there is any issue, or if there's any topic the school would like us to cover, or the teachers come forward and put forth a query, then we take it up with the school management and conduct the workshops.
Okay.
And to add
Then
one more thing here,
you
there is
hire
this,
special
uh,
educators for
if
schooling.
you're
Am I
working
right?
in, Hayat, can I talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're working in schools, if you have the experience, usually schools recruit special educators and counselors just for the heck of it, because they have to show it to the board, and they make you do all possible jobs. You are doing substitution work for at least 4 to 5 periods in a day, and then you're doing all odd end jobs. But when you're part of health basics, we ensure that you are doing your job. We ensure we have a MOU signed with the school, where we say that the special educator and the counselor will do their job only. They will not be your assistant for other things.
Okay.
Okay.
And personally, yes, I do conduct sessions with teachers. Okay, I'll share my mobile number also. Anytime anybody wants to get in touch with me, you can always get in touch through
Okay,
Health
ma'am. Thank
Basics
you.
personally, because my motto here is reach and touch as many lives as possible. That's my mobile number.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, dear.
Ma'am, will you conduct personal classes for like general private classes for the teachers, like workshops?
I can conduct. As in,
For
what do
Uh,
you?
UX and
in
Madhya,
what way can we contact you, ma'am?
I shared my mobile number. You want me to share
Yeah.
that again?
No, I've noted that. The thing is, how can we know that whether when you are conducting workshop or anything?
Get in touch with me.
Okay, ma'am.
Get
So
in touch with me.
we
See,
can be
you can
touching
get
you
in touch
through
with
WhatsApp.
Ashita, Health Basics, or her.
Okay, ma'am.
we will email our contact numbers and our email addresses to all of you.
Hello.
So you will all have a way to connect with us.
That's the number for you. The email ID and the number.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Ma'am, do you have conduct CRE program?
No, I don't do CRE programs.
Thank you, ma'am.
But one thing I have to say here, CBSE has been really quite progressive about helping these children. So it's that we don't have an awareness about the whole thing.
Ma'am, we have a question. What approaches do you suggest for improving a child's spelling skills considering their individual challenges?
See, spelling, first thing is, there was this time when we used to do this rote learning. Now we don't do rote learning. So what you do is take a list of, for instance, if the child has solar system, the topic is solar system, the child has to learn 6 words. We take 6 words at a time, and you make a big, write down the words on a big flashcard or a chart paper in quite bold letters and paste it at the eye level of the child. If you're working at school, paste it in your room, or you can tell this to the parent if it's an interactive and an parent who is ready to work, and you paste it there, and the child has to read it as many times as possible. We are not going to do rote learning. The child will just read the words at least 10 to 15 times in a day. Of course, this is not possible in school. It is possible at home. And then one important point is, the moment the child wakes up from bed and before going to bed, the child has to read. Do it for 3-4 days and then give a dictation of the word. The child will remember the sequence of the letters and remember the spelling. I hope that answers the question.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I just want to know how to improve the child's reading.
Reading is only practice. What level is the child? What is the child struggling with?
Ma'am, normal, for little minor autism.
Okay. Autistic children usually are good at visual learning. So you can show them some videos, and autistic children, they pick up like this and they never forget.
Okay, ma'am.
So what you can do is lots of visual aid, and you try to read. Of course, autism is not easy. It is a challenge. You need to understand which is the, usually autistic children have a liking for numbers. They are attracted to numbers and they are attracted to vehicles. So try using that in your reading part so that the child is interested in what you're doing.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any more questions, Ashrita, Sahiti?
Ma'am, what can be done?
Shraddha, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
We have another question in chat box.
One at a time.
We have a question here. How peer-mediated instruction is helpful in reading competency for students with SLD?
Come again?
Okay. How peer-mediated instruction is helpful in reading competency for student with SLD?
Okay. Usually, this is something which we call as buddy system, and you recommend that there is a child in a class. For instance, there is a child in grade 3, and the child is struggling in completing the work or reading. So instead of an adult helping, there is no scientific reason. But then when the child learns or listens from his or her age group, they do pick it up faster. So it works wonders. So if you have a really smart child, usually girls are smart in class. So if a girl completes her work quickly, she can assist a child who has SLD to read. Maybe you can do paired reading. You read a line, I read a line. You read a paragraph, I read a paragraph. So that the child with SLD understands that, okay, my burden is reduced considerably. Yes, Madhumita, you had something to say?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what can be done for curing sentence formation in children with dyslexic? One child is there. She is severely dyslexic, ma'am. The problem for her is sentence formation. She can't form a sentence in a meaningful way, and slowly she is now picking up. But the thing is, she is grade 6, ma'am. She's
Oh my God. Okay.
6th grade. Yeah.
Okay. See, here the first thing is she needs to start talking more in English.
She can talk. But the thing is, while writing, she can't express. I can understand, ma'am. She's well versed in English communication. The thing
Okay.
is, she can't form the proper sentence while writing.
Is it grammatically incorrect?
Grammatically incorrect, and the words are also were not in order.
Okay. So you have this thing. CBSE has this one grammar activity wherein they give you jumbled words.
Yes.
So you give those jumbled words. You can make it as a flashcard. Make a
Okay, ma'am.
sentence and cut the words and give it to the child. I mean, instead of boring writing it in the book, let the child do it hands-on.
Okay, ma'am.
So make a proper sentence, not a very long one. Start with the basic ones, and then you cut the sentence and give it to the child. Ask her to make it a meaningful sentence. And once she starts doing it, she'll enjoy working. And ask her to read. Once she's made the sentence, ask her to read. See if it makes sense.
Okay, ma'am.
This is an activity you can do.
Yes, ma'am. And one more thing, ma'am. What can be done for developing vocabulary on a child?
Vocabulary is either you talk as much as possible, communicate in English.
Yes, ma'am.
And children do watch cartoons and TV. And watch as much as possible in English, not in Hindi or any regional language.
Okay, ma'am.
I know parents will say you are against my mother tongue. Mother tongue, any way will come. English is important because all our children are in English medium schools.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So vocabulary can come when parents can talk, and you can even suggest to the parents that when they go out, you are at the traffic signal. You see some word there on a billboard. Ask the child to find it. You sit in a mall food court and you ask the child to read the menu card.
Yes, ma'am.
These are the ways which they can build their vocabulary.
And
yes,
ma'am.
all the time the child doesn't need to pick a book and a pen.
Yes, ma'am.
You can be as creative as possible. And even with the TV, when you watch TV, when something is scrolling down there, find as
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is doubling. I think you are on two devices. Please mute one device. 2 times we are getting same words.
I
Please
think all
take it
of
out.
you need to be on mute. Somewhere there is.
Now it's fine.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's okay.
Okay. I think somebody was there. So the thing is, you can be as creative as possible, and even TV screens, news channels, when you see the thing scrolling down there, count how many number of times you saw the word the. As simple as that. Simple sight words. I'm not asking you to read big lines. Simple things like this.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, and the final doubt is, a boy is there and he is suffering with severe dyslexia.
Yeah, go on.
Am I audible, ma'am? Yes?
Yeah, go on.
The thing is that he is overpowered with the sight words. While reading a word, during reading activity, while reading a word, by reading only a 2 letter, he is thinking that this word might be the word I have already read. For example, instead of reading a word like decide, he is thinking that it was dead by reading only the first 2 letters. This is what the problem he is facing. What can be done for this?
That is typical of dyslexia.
Yes, yes.
Especially house, horse. The same word comes. The moment I see H-O, I decide it's house or horse. So you get those, I don't know whether you know about it. You get those panels, the scales that you get, transparent ones, which focus only on one particular word or one particular line. So get those things when the child is reading and ask the child to focus on only that particular place.
Okay, ma'am.
Those things, these gadgets do help.
Like a word highlighter, am I right, ma'am?
Yeah, something like that.
Actually, I want to share one thing here, ma'am. One of my students used to do like this. So what I insist her is read the proper spelling. So normally she guesses more. Immediately she used to guess it. So what I insist her, no, read the spelling, total spelling. So that way, no, like they concentrate there.
Yes, you tell them that you're not guessing after first two letters. Read all the letters and say the word. You have to constantly remind them that.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can we have some techniques and strategies to be planned while teaching mathematics?
You can. You can come up. See, special education, and this is something, there is no end to it. The creativity, there is no end to it. The way you teach. How many of you, of course, I don't know, probably I belong to older generation, but how many of you learned crocodile's mouth as school-going kids? I didn't know. I didn't know crocodile's mouth.
Yes, ma'am, you're right. We have learned it as a symbol, but
I
nowadays,
frankly telling you, the moment I felt, I put it this way. The moment I felt, I put it this way.
yes, you're right.
It was just my thought. I never knew until I became a special educator. I was like, oh my God, wish I had learned like this. So the reason why I said that is you can be as creative as possible. And especially when it comes to basic maths, you can teach with concrete objects. I never knew what is borrowing and what is carryover. It was just rote learning. After a point, it just went into my head. But you can easily teach that. Okay, I used to teach this with one of my child on the spectrum. He still remembers this. He used to work as in I had to teach him borrowing. How do you teach him borrowing? It's very difficult. So 2 minus 3, you can't do it. So I used to teach him. Okay, you don't have enough. So you go ask Mama, Mama, give me. I need to give Shraddha ma'am. So Mama will give you. And then you come and give Shraddha ma'am. So, and every time he used to do his borrowing, he used to say this whole poem. I go to Mama, give me. I have to give Shraddha ma'am. So use concrete things like that to teach the concepts. And this field, I'll tell you, it's wonderful and you'll love working with children. Maybe we can have a next session also. I mean, you can give your suggestions, what topics you want. Maybe we can talk about the different levels of reading. Forget about the comprehension part. How do we teach from the basic sound, CVC words, sight words? How do you teach each one? Or even tips to share with parents, classroom strategies for teachers.
Ma'am, there is a question here. What
Yes, ma'am.
types of assistive technologies or resources does the special educator incorporate to assist students with reading difficulties?
See, technology can be used in the best way. Play Store has enough and more word games. You can make the child play the word games to improve the vocabulary. So that improves your reading. The child is able to do it. See, again, I have this one particular app, which is a mouse timer, wherein go to Google Play Store and you say mouse timer, you'll get it. Wherein it's a normal timer. Our kids are bored when you put a timer saying that, okay, I put a timer, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, you're going to finish copying from board in these 3 minutes. Our children are bored. So make it creative and innovative for them. There is this mouse who starts nibbling on apples and reaches the cheese. The timer can be for 1 minute, accordingly, number of apples, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever the duration. The children are literally mesmerized. They love it than the normal timer. Things like this, You can do lots of, I was checking the other day, word reading games on Play Store, sentence building. You can use technology for good things also. It's not just Minecraft and something else. And my kids, when I put this timer on, if they have to erase something, they pause the timer. Ma'am, wait, we need to erase. Mouse timer. The name of the timer is mouse timer.
Guys, request you all to mute yourself if you're not speaking or asking any doubts. Thank you so much. Request you all again to mute yourself.
This is how it looks. I don't know whether it's actually visible. I mean, this is how the mouse timer looks. I think it's too bright. This is mouse eating the apple. Just go to Google Play Store and you get it.
Ma'am, can we have one more session about the technological things available for the SLD students?
Ashrita ma'am.
Yes, definitely have that. So at the end of this workshop, we'll give a feedback form. Please, we would love you guys to fill out the feedback form. And we leave a remarks option and idea suggestion option where you can give us the ideas, or you can give us, suggestions on what you would like to hear from us next. That will help us, plan future workshops accordingly. Are there any other questions?
Ma'am, do you provide any reading material, ma'am? Material.
Sorry?
For reading material, ma'am.
You want reading material?
Yes, ma'am.
Connect with me. I'll share what age group and what do you want.
Okay, fine, ma'am. Thank you.
Certification course or certification workshop.
Ayat, if you're asking, okay.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm asking for certificate. Is there any certificate?
Ashrita, is there any certificate?
We are not providing any certifications, Ayat.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
There is one last question here. Ma'am, when this preschooler goes to class 1 in high school, do they learn in the mainstream and regular class along with IEP? Or is it mandatory for the school to have a separate class and set up for SLD children?
SLD children, if you know, they have a normal IQ. They must be having some issues with reading, writing, spelling, or non-verbal. That is what is SLD. So they are children with normal IQ. So they will go to normal school. They will sit in normal classes. But the IEP will be formed in such a way that if the child is in the lower grades, so it's more of a concept building in the lower grades. But as the grades go higher, the teacher or the special educator will work with the school curriculum as well. Try to prepare the child for the UTs and the exams of the school, so that the child doesn't miss out on that. And how does a child manage taking classes during school hours? You don't pull out during your main subjects. You pull out during your dance, music, art, maybe not PE, because children will not like you if you pull them out during their games. And then you pull them out in those times, or usually schools here in Gurgaon have a zero period. So you pull them out in those times wherein you work with these children. So these children go to regular school. They are not kept separately. They are not labeled.
Are there any other doubts?
Feel free to connect to us. We are always there to help. Thank you so much, Neeta.
Thank you so much for the beautiful session, ma'am.
Thank you so
It was
much.
very useful.
It was
Yes,
nice.
ma'am.
Hope we have more sessions like this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we need.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you everyone for
Thank you, Ashita,
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
arranging
being
this,
part
and
of
also
our session.
Shraddha, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was very informative.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Shraddha, ma'am, do you have any specific time frame, as in between what time we can call you?
Text me if I'm free. I will pick up.
All right.
You WhatsApp me the same number. If I'm free, I'll pick up because I my sessions, as you know, sessions happen all through the time. Mornings I am with health basics, and evenings I am with my sessions. So it is a quite a, I don't know, it's a volatile thing. So if I'm free, I'll definitely pick up your call. Connect with me anytime. Feel free to connect with me. Like what I said, I always believe that touch as many lives as possible, because in our country the awareness and the understanding is very less today. I mean, it's much better today, but still we are still at the tip of the iceberg. We need to help parents and families struggling with these children for no fault of the children.
All right, everyone. Thank you. We will be sharing the feedback form soon on your emails. Please give feedback to us and share on the topics you would like to hear from us.
Yeah, ma'am, one quick advice or suggestion from you, ma'am, Shraddha, ma'am. Ma'am, if a child is mild autistic and also ADHD, can he attend a normal school?
If it's a mild one, yes, you can. As long as you have all therapies in place. If the child is taking OT regularly and behavior is ABA therapy is taken care of for the behavior part of it. If all therapies are in place, the child can attend normal school. If you are not giving any therapy and if you're just saying that the child has to be in normal school, it will not function.
Even if the child is 5 years old, ma'am?
It's okay. You need all
It's
therapy.
okay.
I
All
mean,
therapy.
earlier the better. Maybe we should have a session about early intervention. Earlier the better. 5 years is the perfect time, the golden time when you should attend to this. Like the way we say that the golden hour when a person has a heart attack or something like that, the first hour is very important. Before the age of 6, it is very important that we work with children. Before the gap actually widens. ABA will work when it comes to autism because your communication and social skills are taken up by your ABA therapy, and occupational therapy is required for eye contact and instruction following. If all therapies are in place, then the child can attend school, normal school. And ideally, no child should be kept away from normal schooling unless it's a very severe intellectual disability. Because we all have just one planet to live on. Today we are here. These children, you put them in some special school or somewhere. And after the age of 18, where will you send them? Do they have a planet B? They have to be accommodated in our society. So why not assimilate them from the beginning itself? Don't seclude them. They are part of us. And it's not their fault that whatever has happened to them.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, dear.
Ma'am, I have a query.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that one of my child, he can read everything. He does everything, but he doesn't want to write. He's a very slow learner. You keep on telling him, the whole 2 periods, 3 periods, he will not write. So what has to be done with that type of kid?
He needs OT. He has some fine motor issues.
No, ma'am.
Okay. How old is he?
Ma'am, he's studying in class 1.
1. Okay. Then maybe you need to tell the parent also regular board copying every day. Since it's grade 1, just one sentence, put a timer, ask the child to copy. Only
Okay, ma'am.
thing is
Thank
you
you,
need
ma'am.
to practice timed copying with him to build
Okay.
his interest, because he's still in grade 1. If you start working right now, it will definitely help. By the time he reaches grade 3, grade 4, the amount of work will obviously increase, which will be difficult for him.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And one more girl is there in my class. Um, ma'am, she doesn't want to sit with anyone, and if you are not there in the class, now she'll go hit anyone and then come back to her seat politely, and you'll not know also that that girl has hit that child, other one.
Attention seeking.
Okay.
She's doing that. She knows very well that nobody is seeing me. I can do this. She's not doing that in your presence. So it's an intentional act. So probably just talk to the parents, find out what is happening on the home front also. Because most of the times, whatever behavior that we see in the school setup or the classroom setup is usually a reflection from home. Children are usually with maids, or they're completely pampered and they will never take a no for an answer. We need to know all that about the child.
Yes, ma'am. She is a very pampered girl, and nobody says no to her at home.
You answered your own question.
Yes, ma'am. That I had a query with the parent, but still the habit is there. So how can we control it in school, ma'am, so that she doesn't hit other?
Sorry. Maybe you should have a reinforcement chart. You should have a reinforcement chart wherein you tell the child, today you're a good child, make a chart. Monday you're good, put a star or a smiley, and whole week you're good, you get something at the end of it.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Make a reinforcement chart.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, and one more question is there.
Yeah.
Ma'am, carry on. Okay, ma'am. Afterwards, I'll ask.
Okay.
No, ma'am, please continue. No problem.
Ma'am, one child is suffering from light ADHD, and the boy is not ready to write.
Okay.
He answers everything verbally. He will answer you all the questions, but he doesn't want to write. So, what has to be done with that?
Sitting tolerance must not be there. Does he sit in a place?
Yes, ma'am. He sits in the place, but his motor development, his fingers are not in that. No, that he can write so big long answers. Even he cannot learn long answers. Also, he can learn small answers. He will answer
Because
you.
of his attention deficit. His attention span is not long. So that's because of that. So he needs OT. He needs OT to focus. Maybe twice a week, he does OT. So that will at least channelize his energy.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, one doubt, ma'am. A girl is there. She's good in vocabulary, but the thing is, while writing, she's very slow. Wantedly, she wants to write slowly as her handwriting wants to be look good. What can be done for that?
Timer. Put her on a timer.
It worked, ma'am, but only one session I did that. But again, she's in the same position. She wants her handwriting and the presentation should be to be neat, but she's refusing to write it quite
Does she show
faster.
symptoms of OCD?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So you need to talk to the counselor in school.
Yes.
The counselor has to talk to the child about this OCD part. Because if he's very particular about your neatness, so it shouldn't become so severe that it goes into something else.
Okay, ma'am.
See, one thing is there. It's not that as special educators, we take on everything. We need a complete support of everybody. A speech therapist, an occupational therapist, remedial to we do. And we need even counselors. We can't do anything alone. It's a joint effort.
Okay, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Sorry, good evening. There's this child in the vicinity in my neighborhood. He's a Marathi medium, but he goes to an English medium school. And he's a first generation learner, and the parents don't know how to help the child. And he's joined the school in under RTE, and now they want some help. How am I supposed to help? Because even I don't know Marathi, and I really want to help the child.
Use technology where you don't know Marathi. Not that I know Marathi, but use technology and try to teach. See, here in this case, it is not a learning disability, it's a difficulty because of other factors.
Yes.
Yes, because he is a first generation English learner. So it is not easy for the child. So what you can do is you can start talking to him in English, simple sentences, make him repeat, sit down, what is your name, go to the basics. First, build here the conversation skills. You work on your conversation skills and then you can help the child, but it's going to be a difficult one because language barrier, just like the way he doesn't know English, you don't know Marathi.
That's right.
So either you have to have some translator with you or use some app to translate whatever he says or whatever you say into Marathi. But again, if you talk to him, try to talk to him in Marathi, your goal is not achieved. You have to teach him English. Right?
Okay, yes.
So you have to start. I had this child way back in Bangalore. Parents do speak English, but this child couldn't even understand anything. Take out your book. He was a 6-year-old boy. He couldn't understand, take out your book. He understood only Kannada. Not that I don't know Kannada, but then we were told that you're not going to speak in any language other than English. At least in Delhi NCR, you speak in other languages. But when it comes to Bangalore, you don't speak in, we never spoke in any other language. So I used to take out his book from the bag, put on the table and say, take out your book. And I used to put the book back. And I used to again say, take out your book. And he used to take out the book.
Understood, ma'am.
So you'll have to do the role play and work with. Of course, it's not going to be easy.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a child, ma'am, who's able to recognize only 4 colors. He's in the senior KG. So he's unable to recognize the other colors. He recognizes only purple, orange, and one more color. He's unable to recognize the other colors. I mean to say like red, green, yellow. So how do I help him, ma'am?
Ask them to get an eye test done. Go to a doctor and do a color testing done. Because there are children, they are colorblind. Ask them to get an eye test done first.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Because doctors have this way of, I mean, even I had actually studied about this. How does a doctor identify whether a child is able to recognize the color? It's a very interesting thing. Go Google it and search for it. But then there is a particular method which doctors use to check the color knowledge of the child. I had referred a child for the same because I had a child who would say black for white, white for black, even after I don't know how many years.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.